enjoy the show, play on my channel.
Yeah.
First official podcast.
Awesome.
Oh,
man. I'm glad
dude,
it's
really?
with us, Tales of the Hunted, man. I'm very honored to have you on here.
Absolutely.
I am honored to be your guest. And I just realized we were talking before about the Bluetooth headphones.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that ain't going to work with this.
I was wondering how you're going to make it work, man. I was
It's
like,
not going to work.
He's Batman.
Batman.
He'll figure
It's
it
Batman.
out. I don't know.
No.
A
So,
false ear comes down, he programs it in, puts it back up. I don't ask because Batman's not going to tell me. So, wow.
You can hear me all right, though, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Perfectly.
Absolutely. Perfectly fine. So this is the Tales of the Hunted podcast. We try to highlight people that we think that the audience may want to hunt. And obviously we thought they would want to hunt you when we chose you for, just like, do we want Batman to show up at the Great Media Comic-Con? Like, yeah, absolutely. We want Batman to show up.
Yeah.
And it was a blast, man.
Honored. I am honored to be on your podcast. Thank you so much.
And, through the Great Media Comic-Con, that's where we met you. But I've been following you since then, and you do a lot of really great work in the community. You're in parades, doing birthdays, going out to events like the con. And it adds something for nerds, especially young kids, to be able to go out and see Batman. Especially.
Oh, yeah. The expressions I get on people's faces, especially with kids and even adults. That's what it's all about. Just getting to interact with people, and it's an absolute blast. I mean, the whole like putting the suit on can be troublesome at times, but over time, I start to learn. I've evolved. Yeah. So it's like try and do things. Like, how can you do things that'll make life easier on yourself?
Yeah,
so,
and that's what we heard from Iron Man when we were at Blue Hen and then over at Ocean City Con. I was talking to Iron Man, and he was mentioning. I was going to do a cell shaded suit for Iron Man, but he was going to do little improvements so that he can dress himself, because he's just like, my guy who helps me dress. He dropped out at the Blue Hen Con, had to have people help me, and it can get encumbering like that, especially when you have accurate suits like your Arkham Knight costume, which is brand new. I saw on social medias. I love the special suit there, especially like cell shaded. Video game Batman has been, next to the comics, the best and most reliable Batman that nerds have gotten.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Kevin Conroy. Yeah, I mean my favorite was probably Arkham City.
Okay, yeah,
yeah,
that's where they.
Arkham Knight was. I mean, I love the suit clearly, but like I felt it kind of got a little repetitive with those tank battles.
Yeah.
That was my only criticism, but otherwise it was great.
Yeah, they did kind of tap the well dry, because they finally gave you the Batmobile that you wanted, that they said wouldn't work, and it totally worked, but
yeah,
it was like that was the only new thing they really had in there besides the Jason Todd story kind of tweaked.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but what got you into doing this for the community? I'll put it that way, because ultimately,
I mean, unfortunately, it's. I wish I had like a big crazy entertaining story, but it's pretty simple actually. A good friend of mine had a Halloween party every year, and each year I kept upping myself. Like, okay, the first year I was Rambo. I actually had a prosthetic gash on my arm.
Nice.
And I had blood flowing down. So I would always kind of go above and beyond. And the one time I'm like, you know what? I want to become I want to get a full legit bat suit. Well, anyone who does cosplay, your first suit, your first cosplay is never going to be exactly as great as you think it is in your mind.
Yeah.
Right.
So, it took me a year, and I piecemealed it all together. Wasted a lot of money.
Well spent
money, because it
yes,
went
exactly
into this.
Yes, yeah, but yeah, and I went to the party, and then a couple months later, he's like, "Hey, would you want to be Batman for my daughter's 5th birthday?" I'm like, "Sure." So one thing led to another, and then my addiction to muscle suits and bat suits started. 7 or 8 years later, here we are.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean,
wow.
It's a good origin nonetheless, because Batman, why not? It makes sense, especially with all the media that came out, really improving the bat suit from what it originated as, with the Adam West being the most popular.
West, yeah. Did you ever have one of those?
An Adam West suit?
Yeah.
Now, the closest thing I did have a it was a full the classic gray suit with the black and gold oval emblem, and I had is it Jim Lee the royal blue cowl, cape, trunks, boots. Didn't really last very long.
I forget who really put it out, but it was the yellow symbol was like from the Adam West, and they kind of kept it, but
they adjusted it.
Yeah, it went black because everything went dark after Frank Miller's Dark Knight. Yeah, then it just it just went
because you know what, that Batman series was great. It was one of the first I picked up. So,
but
with the Batman, I mean, a lot of people stumble onto him in different ways. With myself, I was more of I would pick up a comic for the artwork, not necessarily to read the story as a kid. So what really hit me with Batman was the animated series, Michael Keaton, and all the movies, and that repetitive regurgitation of horrible movies in that middle there that really made me focus, like, okay, when I picked up comics and actually started to read them, I was like, well, why don't I go to Batman? I'm on Pajangers and wall hangers. My dad in my entire life has called me Matman, because in the 80s, baby born in the 90s, you go on a soccer team, there are like 7 kids named Matt. So my dad told him, he said, look, if you want his attention, just call him Matman. And every single time I turned my head and looked. So
there you go.
I am the PJ and WH Matman, so it's only fitting that Matman interviews Batman.
Of course.
And then we have Frank One Punch Percy up there, and comic book artists.
I really hope I outlive you guys. That's why I know you won't scribe this on my tombstone. Like, literally. You guys would literally do that. It's like, Jesus Christ, like, really. But
I would learn how to etch in stone, just so I could just kind of like,
I really do.
I got you, Frank. Don't worry.
But I'm afraid that you guys would just spray paint it, just if anything, just to be,
little.
Yeah, I know. If I don't put anything there. Yeah, if I don't put anything there, you guys would spray paint the grass.
Frank's gonna have the most elaborate grave ever, just so we can't spray paint anything.
I'm gonna get cremated, and my dust is gonna be thrown to the wind. Okay, so the pigeons can sneeze in it.
We'll follow the dust.
Yeah, I know you will. That's unfortunate. Yeah,
that's unfortunate. It is. But ultimately, one thing that DC has done right is animated. Now, like I mentioned before, is any kind of plans for the future to take on that cel-shaded look to your suit?
You're asking me if I'm going to do like an animated cosplay?
Because there's that artistic look that goes well. I noticed you had the white out eyes on the one cowl, and I was like, comic book nerds love that. We love to see the white eyes.
I did. I actually did the I sold the suit at this point, but I did have it's the same suit I did the Neil Adams. That was it. Neil Adams.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
The blue so
yeah, classic, yeah.
Yeah.
I took that same cow with the it was the fabric cow, and I took the one with the whited out the mesh eyes, and I created my version of the animated series Batman.
Loved it.
Okay.
And it was, I loved it, but it's like after a certain point, dude, literally I've been doing this for probably a good 8 years, and it's
Nice.
like I was getting like suits on the regular. So by like after a certain point, I'm like, okay, assess which suits do you really use, which suits do you don't use. And unfortunately, I started to unload, and now I got it down to the set 3 that I absolutely love.
Right.
And
I really feel you missed an amazing YouTube video of a Batman yard sale. And it's just you on the front lawn, just with the bat suits. And then you just have a whole bunch of people coming up. You mean, just looking at the bat suits. You get this one really American-looking guy, and he's like, I don't know. Price is a little steep. That is amazing content right there.
Look, if you don't like it, go pound sand. Okay?
Yes. You get Batman as a real hard salesman. I love that idea.
Oh,
great.
Feeling the fabric, saying, yeah, I've seen better. Yeah, I don't know. It's nice. I like it, but it's a little pricey.
I swear your prices are just a little. Swear to me.
Oh man, yes.
Had to work that in there.
I can't imagine. That's all right. It's okay.
It's great. It's great.
Wow.
I'm telling you, that's a future video. We're gonna have to work that out. That is
absolutely
content. That's just great.
I love the pieces that you make that you put on Facebook. The Photoshop photos that you do, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the comic book that had the actual, I don't know, burned in with some sort of laser.
Yes.
Oh, I said, wow. Wait a minute. He's in a comic book now too. I go, oh, I get it. He took it from a comic book. Okay.
I noticed that as
well.
But
man,
that's
that
brilliant.
was really good. That was really good. I'm gonna steal it. I hate to tell you that. Okay, I'm gonna steal it. All right.
Well, the one thing I like, dude, social media it is so difficult. I have a hard time like keeping up with like producing content, and people post photos on the regular like almost daily, and I'm like, I can't do that.
Oh
and
my
like,
God, no.
So I have a hard time coming up with stuff that like is fresh and new. So I'm like, okay, well, I really like this artwork. Why don't I try and like infuse myself in that? Sometimes I do have help with other people I've met through Instagram. Sometimes they edit it, and of course I try and tag them wherever I can. But it's also fun to do collaborations with other Batman cosplayers on Instagram as well, which I have done.
All right.
Yeah.
Have you met the guy that does steampunk Batman?
Oh wow.
I don't think I have. No.
That's a really nice concept. Yeah. Steampunk Batman. I haven't seen him in a while, but he does a great job. So all of those large conventions, dude, you would kill.
Absolutely.
You would kill.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You would kill.
Well, so the Media Comic-Con last year was my first comic convention that I ever went to.
Mm-hmm.
I was all set and ready to go. My very first Comic-Con, I was set. I had I had that muscle suit ready to go. I was going to go to Philly, the Wizard World Comic-Con, and I'm like, I'm going to suit up. I'm going to walk the streets of Philly. It's just going to be so much fun. Well, that was 2020 in June.
Oh yeah, that didn't work.
So that didn't work. So the rest of it is pretty much history. So
yeah. Oh man.
Well,
but
that's how I met Frank. We were going to go to the Great Media Comic-Con, and then COVID happened, and it didn't happen. And then it took until last year for everything to get that engine rolling again.
Right. Right.
Bigger than ever this year. And you're going to be back. My immediate thought when I was at like Blue Hen Comic-Con, when I was at the Ocean City Comic-Con, I was like, Delco Batman.
Yeah.
Like, he would kill it.
You would have murdered it. You would have murdered it. Iron Man, his suit was spot on.
Yeah.
Your suit is spot on. And let me tell you something. You would have murdered it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you.
So, yeah.
I mean, the cosplay alone at cons is very impressive, but
Yeah.
like especially with having multiple suits, because then you could just have a display suit and you walk around, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And just that kind of attention alone, you would really kill it in just even this central local con community that is around here. Because outside of the big, you know, at Oaks or Philly, there are the other cons popping up, which are really getting their stride, like Ocean City going to 2 days next year.
Yeah.
Blue Hen going to 2 days next year. Great Meeting Comic-Con 2 days, well, 2 days and Friday this year, 3 days.
Yeah. 3 days.
Right.
You know, it's that kind of explosion because the people want it. The people are down and they need something to do.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it was so much fun last year. It was a lot of fun. It was funny. I remember I was walking around and a gentleman came up to me. He's like, "Say, Batman, tell me, what do you think of Darth Vader?" And I'm like, "He's behind me, isn't he?" So I turned around and I'm like, "Wow, dude! Like you seriously, it's like that Darth Vader radiates the character. I mean,
oh yeah." He was talking shit to me the whole day last year.
Talking shit to everybody. Okay.
I was a Jedi with a fedora, and he was just, and I'm at the.
He was dying to knock that fedora off your head. Okay,
I'm checking people in at the front counter, and Lord Vader's goddamn grilling me. The crowd loved it. Meanwhile, I'm just like, man, if this was a real lightsaber, chop off your limbs again. Yeah, handicap.
Too funny. Too funny. Yeah.
But it's that kind of energy that you get out of the con community, and I think especially, like I had an interaction. I said it, I think, a couple times in this podcast before, but I was at the Ocean City Comic-Con, and I had this old woman. She walked up to me, and she thanked me for being there. She explained to me. She was like, "Look, it's an ocean town. We look forward to this because we don't have anything to do and nothing's going on. So we really appreciate you showing up and just coming out."
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that kind of connection I got from her. Like, oh, you know, like she doesn't care what I do. She's just happy that you came here. We got an event. I'm going to see Mark McKenna. Peace out. You know, like it's that kind of that overall happiness that you get out of the people from the community. And I mean, I see all the posts and all the stuff that you're doing, especially with birthdays. I mean, it's straight out of, what was it, Ghostbusters 2. But it works. They want to see Batman.
Yeah, but this time none of them are saying that they want to see He-Man instead.
No.
There you go. There you go.
That's true. They're excited that Batman's here. They're like, oh, thank God, Batman. Mom, Dad, you made a great choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna be upset that you got Batman to come to your birthday party.
Right. Well, even grown-ups. I did
book you for mine.
right. Well, so I actually had the opportunity to be at the Philadelphia Wings game last February.
That's awesome.
With Delco Spider-Man.
Okay.
And
he will be on here after you, so you are the first Delco superhero that we got on. Just needed to point that out.
I thank you. But yeah, we went there and First Union Center, and we walk in. Now, keep in mind, I'm in my normal clothes. You know, we're going through the security, and I have like this big like tote of everything. Then there's this small box, right? So I go through, and the security guard like pulls me aside. He's like, "Yo, is it in there?" I'm like, "What do you mean? What is what in there?" He's like, "You know what I'm talking about. Is it in there?" I guess he knew that we were the characters, so I'm like, the Batman cow? He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, it's nerd. Dude, I'm going to have to find you later.
No, the cocaine. Wrong guy. Wrong guy. Oh, this is awkward.
Yeah, right.
God, it went that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, later on, the guy found me. He's like, dude, I need a picture for my kid. I'm like, sure. It's for your kid.
It's totally going in my in my kid's room. Yeah.
Wink, wink. Yeah, right. My kid.
Right.
You know?
But it's at the end of the day, it's so much fun. It's just, and you know, when I was in grade school and high school, I was shy. I mean, I never imagined ever walking in public dressed as a full-blown bat. And I
probably would have thought you
say,
had mental issues. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah.
A future version of yourself, you go back to yourself as a kid, like, guess what? You're going to dress as Batman and walk down the street, and you're like, oh, God, I'm going crazy.
Yeah, right.
Like, no, it's great. There's going to be parades.
Yeah, right.
Be like, what is he talking about? He's off the deep end. But it's a great idea because Delco didn't have a Batman. Delco didn't have a Spider-Man. You know?
Exactly.
I mean, back... like about 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, we at the Triforce podcast here on Perjangers and Wallhangers, we stumbled on the Bucks County Batman. Like, oh shit,
right?
We heard about him, and then we heard about you. We're like, Delco, baby, keep it central, keep it central. We're a Delco podcast. We can get out of here, Bucksco. Get on the fucking train, punk. We got a Delco Batman. We're gonna start the Delco Justice League over here.
Right. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we I don't know too many other Delco superheroes aside from me and Spidey. So,
you know what? It just takes that push.
Just takes that one. Well, let me tell you, there's going to be, I'm sure, others. You know, so
you can't tell me that somebody. All it takes is a good Green Lantern movie to come out. You're going to get somebody dressed in as Jon Stewart.
People are going to. Someone's watching this, and this is going to be their origin story right there.
It is. And you know what? It's not weird. If you have a passion about something, especially if it's going to help people, you should do it. You know what I mean? I started this podcast with Christopher Bristow over 5 years ago because we wanted to have a platform for nerds to talk. We wanted to have a soapbox for people who just are love infatuated with nerd and geek culture, which is the definition of a perjanger. The great part about that is that you could be a nerd or geek about anything. So at the end of the day, the answer is 42, whatever you want it to be. So my soapbox is your soapbox, and having this kind of platform to where you can promote, hey, I'm going to be at this event and that event. We can get you and Delco Spidey on a podcast, especially at the Great Media Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And, you know, really help promote this good. And, you know, it is a charity to the Delco community and the children, because children now have that hero to look up to. It's like when you went to, a city or, township event or party, hey, this is our bicentennial, whatever. At like a school, they have like a band.
Yep.
They play the hits. Oh, I like that song. That's kind of what the cosplaying superhero is doing in the Comic-Con community. These kids, they know you're not Ben Affleck, but you look like him, and that's good enough.
Right.
I know wrestling's fake, but I've still gone to wrestling events, and I know it doesn't tickle, so it's good enough. It's entertainment. It's allowing, especially when you have that improvisation that cosplayers do, that, Darth Vader, you can talk to him like he is Darth Vader, and he'll run with it. It's the same thing with you when you're Batman. Like if I made a joke about Jason Todd dying and rubbing it in, you'd have a Batman retort to it. Because you're a nerd. You've done that, that homework to know your stuff. And that really shows even out with the artwork, with, like Frank was saying, to where, hang on, is that a comic book? No.
Right.
Dear Detective, I expected like I could flip that page and I'll see Ra's al Ghul right on the other side.
Mhm.
Right.
And it's that kind of imagery that you're linking to it, you know, to where the social media, I was like, yeah, I'm going to follow Delco Batman. Hell yeah. Especially with the artwork and stuff. I was scrolling for a while. I do my prep work, my research, as I call it, before I have a guest on. And it was one of the most enjoying researches ever. All it had to do was just scroll and look at awesome Batman artwork. Like, who doesn't want to prep to have Batman on their podcast?
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Because it shows the effort that you put into it. You know, having a nerd be like, no, respect.
Right. Well, the one thing doing these suits, like I said this to myself since day one, like as overly critical as I am to myself, because everyone keeps asking me, oh, why didn't you do like a Michael Keaton Batman, or why didn't you do a screen accurate Ben Affleck Batman? I'm like, it's because it's never going to measure up to my standards. It will never be as good as I have it in here.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, like, make your own version, put your own spin on it. That way it's whatever you have in your, you know what I mean? If that makes any sense, it's like,
it does.
That's why
You're a creative. That's why.
Yeah.
An artist's worst critic is himself. So the standard is high. It never gets bumped down. It only gets abandoned. This is what I'll take it. I'll take it what I'm doing it. So, you know, I understand that.
That's facts.
100%. So along with your other creative things that you do, the signage, it's just what it is. So be yourself. Exactly. Let them, it's clear enough to everybody who you are. And as long as you come across that personality of it, you embody that character. So, you know, I think 100%. And I saw you there and I go, wow, holy crap. You know, dude, you were like spot on. So I don't see what anybody would say will be like this. You know, that's what Michael Keaton is. That's who he is. So I'm not Michael Keaton. Let them do it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And I love how you have that change in your costume. It's okay. I see this inspiration on the chest plate, but then you have other things going on, you know?
Yeah.
It shows too, it boils down to the creativity that goes into a Batman film, because how is your Batman going to look? Because instantly it's going to be criticized by nerds.
Of course.
And it's going to be grilled. Why'd he choose this? Why'd they choose this? Why'd they choose this? When Robert Pattinson's Batsuit came out, people shit on it. They shit on Robert Pattinson the entire time. And then when the movie dropped and it was like described by those critics of the superhero movies is like, well, that's how you do a film.
Right.
All those complaints about the suit and everything went away. And they were like, well, you know, it is a great movie. Tied in from comics, and it's pretty awesome. And they just kept their arms crossed. Nobody can dispute Matt Reeves' Batman. Whenever I talk about Batman, it's, did you watch the Matt Reeves Batman, though? Well, yeah, but, you know, but nothing. That, nobody wanted to be good, and it was great. They brought Batman back with the Batmobile to a classic muscle car because he wanted to blend in. Even then, in the movie, how the cops were like kind of shit talking him when he's walking in. That was kind of perfect. And it's that kind of level of creativity that goes into Batman to where it starts at that outer layer of the suit. And all right, who is this Batman? And then it goes into your personality and your telling of Bruce Wayne, which ultimately it's like scaling down the film industry and making your own persona of Batman. And that's what nerds crave right now.
Yep. Yeah. Speaking of movies, so I was actually thinking about this before we did this whole thing. Going down the list. We're going to go down the list of Batman actors, right? Mm-hmm. So I grew up I grew up around Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney. George Clooney. But
it was all about Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones in that movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Val Kilmer was just like, who's the butt we're putting in the seat?
Well, I mean, to be honest, like, okay, so Michael Keaton did a fantastic job as Batman. I mean, him and Tim Burton, they revolutionized. That was the first serious Batman, right?
Yeah.
Well, then Val Kilmer steps in, and again, this is just my personal opinion. It's like, it's like no emotion. You're just like, you're like a cardboard cutout of Batman. Like there's no, like Tommy Lee Jones and the Riddler. Jim Carrey had more charisma and everything than Batman.
They really saved that movie. That movie was like oh yeah, buckle up, Junior, because it's gonna get worse. Because then you got nipples.
Yeah, exactly.
You got nipples and a credit card, and you're like, oh, what are you doing with Batman? Right. And Mr. Freeze is who?
Yeah, right. Come on.
You know, and then you had Arnie. It's where like they were talking about that movie. I was like, oh man, Mr. Freeze, they gotta get Patrick Stewart. And you're like, no, it's gonna be Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I was like, that is the complete wrong move.
Yeah, right.
He should be apologizing. Arnold Schwarzenegger should be apologizing more than fucking George Clooney, if I'm being honest.
Well, and if I'm being honest, I like, okay, so George Clooney, I don't think he did a half bad job as Bruce Wayne.
Right.
But Batman, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like he's just a victim of bad writing. Like, it was just
Yeah.
I mean, in the right opportunity, maybe he would be able to do a better job, but I don't think he would ever.
I'm thinking of it, you're right. He did do a really good Bruce Wayne. It's the Batman that sucked. And just like Val Kilmer's Bruce Wayne sucked. Mr. E. Mr. Enigma.
Yeah.
Like, get the hell out of here, kid. I'm a kid watching this, and I'm like, that's corny. Like,
right. Just go back to Top Gun. Okay. Just do your Top Gun Iceman, and that's, so.
So I have to ask this now, since we're into film. The Flash. What are your thoughts on The Flash, Mr. AKA Mr. Chokey?
My opinion, I kind of feel bad because I was really looking forward to Michael Keaton coming back, and I watched it, and afterwards I'm just like, they kind of did him wrong. Like I feel like Tim Burton was the missing equation of Michael Keaton. If you don't have Tim Burton, then Michael Keaton just as Batman doesn't look right.
Right.
Like, it's weird, but like the scene where he's like, it's daylight. Michael Keaton, like Batman's in daylight, and he's got blood dripping down. Like, what's that, ketchup? Like,
yeah.
It just, for some reason, I'm like, it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit.
Kevin Conroy on the CW was a better pullback than that scene in The Flash, because Kevin Conroy coming back in as Kingdom Come Batman, done to where you're like, that's Kingdom Come Batman.
Yeah,
it was done right. Like this, I'm not sad to say this, but the Berlantiverse was great when it came to little nods like that to the comics. It was amazing. It was just a TV show, so you knew it was going to be serialized, and you just got that ground and pounded the pavement. We gotta get every drop out of that, and that's why it died, because the Flash, the first 2 seasons of that show was fantastic. Arrow, I gave up to I think 5.
Right.
Legends of Tomorrow, I gave a solid 2. Scattered out in the back end there. But overall, Batwoman, I gave it an episode. They kind of started to superhero fandom, when it starts to listen to everybody that's loud in the room, it just kind of starts to, it's like your pilot getting nervous halfway through the flight. And you're like, hold on, man, come on. You're 50,000 feet up. And you just wipe away what was that, like 80 or it was like $23 million or $83 million or something with the Batgirl movie. And then you just put out that atrocity that was the Flash, to where I'm like, how bad was that Batgirl movie really?
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like I never really understood like Ezra Miller's version of the Flash. Like he was like really like comedic, and I was asking my buddy about him. Like, is Flash in the comics, and is he really supposed to be that like much of a comic relief?
No,
what?
He was a scientist, and he was always the intellectual in the group. And
that was more Hal Jordan out of like the two. I would say Hal Jordan.
No, that was
comedic.
That was basically Guy Gardner.
Yeah.
The other
overall.
Goofy. Yeah. But no, the original Flash was not. I mean, none of them were really funny either.
No.
Right.
None of them were funny. There was no in the books anyone who was really funny until you got Guy Gardner. And a few other goofy characters.
Their brains were hopped up on coke. They called the Speed Force. We're gonna run really fast. They are not funny. I don't know how many tweakers you've met, but they're not the best stand-up comedians in the world.
Right.
Problem with timing. But overall, how hopeful are you with James Gunn, not Kevin Gunn, of WMMR? Blocks all weekend. How confident are you with James Gunn manning the helm? Because he did have a lot of success in the nerd realm. And he's not buying the car in the best shape. Is he going to Gotham Garage it, or is he going to pimp my ride? Is my overall question to you.
Well, so we're talking about the upcoming film that they still have yet to do, the what is it called, The Brave and the Bold,
with Damian Wayne, not Damian Wayans. He has a problem with Big Brother has a problem with pop culture references here. But overall, how are you feeling? Because I feel hopeful after watching Suicide Squad, Peacemaker. Yeah. I feel give this man room to speak.
I feel the same way. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like I love the Batman character, and anytime I hear that there's a Batman movie coming along, I really do have I have open expectations. Like I try not to don't set myself up. Oh, it's going to look like like. When they first initially, like you said, when they first initially announced that Robert Pattinson was going to be Batman, I'm like, what? And then I saw it. I'm like, actually, he didn't do a bad job. Yeah.
Get the goddamn hair out of your face. You got billions of dollars. You don't have a comb?
Right. Right.
Send Alfred. Hey, get me a comb. He probably has one. I thought you'd never ask, Master Bruce.
And some more blueberries. That was blueberries that he was eating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blueberries in a comb, Alfred.
Blueberries in a comb.
Title of the podcast.
Well, yeah, I'm open to it. I'm open to seeing what if anything at all, it always brings up good inspiration for me to do something like this.
What do you think about the Jack Reacher, the main character? I forget his name. He's been in so many things.
I'm watching now.
In Titans.
He was the Hawk,
He's voiced his excitement over, hey, I'll be Batman. And I kind of like that as Cash.
He's got the look. Yeah, he's got the look.
Especially if you're going Brave and the Bold, an older Batman with a kid from an assassin, crazy. Who hasn't had the crazy ex-girlfriend? Am I right? This one's an assassin, so you gotta be on your game. Kind of like my superhero ex-girlfriend, but with assassins, and that's Batman's life.
Yeah,
I'd brood over a city too.
I always thought I mean, I always thought Josh Brolin had a really good look as like an older version of Batman.
Mm-hmm. John,
but not he's in every single Marvel movie that there is, and
I always loved John Hamm. I thought he would have had that Michael Keaton, suave, debonair Bruce Wayne, and he can totally go into Batman, because if you're questioning his acting range, watch Good Omens. My God, him as the angel, what was it, Gabriel? Fantastic. So I always like John Hamm, especially.
I think he can play it. He's got that chiseled look, that chiseled chin. You got it too, man. It's like you got that.
You got to have the jaw.
No,
the jaw.
Yeah, you got the jaw for it. Yeah, so
I have mine with a beard.
Yeah.
So
it's funny. So on Instagram, occasionally I get to chat with people like reach out to me. Oh, I love your stuff. Thank you so much. Occasionally you'll get the very odd message. So one person did message me, and they were like, dude, your jawline is like, they said a couple things, and I'm like, ignore.
Okay, you're going creepy. I thought you were going to go Russian troll farm, but no, there's just legitimate, like, dude, I really like your jaw. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yay.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
Your pecs look great in this picture.
Exactly.
All right, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
Are you harvesting my organs or something in your head? Like, I don't know. That's why you keep.
But did you ever collect any comic books as a kid, or in your early 20s, or just ever?
I had a few. I had a few X-Men comics. Just recently, actually, I started reading up on the Batman Who Laughs.
Okay, yeah. Okay. That's one I've been wanting to get into. That one's great.
Yeah. Okay. I really liked the introduction of the multiverse. I was really fascinated by the different variations of Batman. Like the Grim Knight, for example, or his origin story. Mm-hmm. Instead of Joe Chill killing his parents and him growing up as Batman, he, spoiler alert, he did away with Joe Chill right then and there, and then that pointed his trajectory into, the ruthless kind of Punisher-like Batman.
Mm-hmm. I like those alternate versions of Batman rather than like, well, this is Batman steampunk. Not that Gotham by Gaslight wasn't great, but one of my favorite Batman storylines was not done justice really in the game that recently came out. But the Court of Owls. I love that comic storyline. I grabbed the compendium. Doomsday Clock I grabbed because I knew there was a solid chunk of Batman in there. I'm still going through that omnibus. Where I grab, especially if I want to like grab a Batman, because I've grabbed a bunch of them. I went all the way back as compendium wise as far as I can. Like, which are the best ones here? Death in the Family I still need to grab, but the Killing Joke is one of my favorite, especially with how it ends with Joker finally making Batman laugh. Mm-hmm. And the joke is fantastic. I can never remember it, and I butcher it, but ultimately it's two inmates escaping an asylum, and they're escaping through the roof, and there's a gap in the roof. And the one inmate says to the other, look, I'll shine the flashlight over the gap and you walk across. The one inmate says to the other one, what are you kidding? You think I'm crazy? You're going to turn the light off when I'm halfway across. And that's the joke that gets Batman to laugh. We even got a giggle out of this Batman. And it's that kind of like comic line that you can just pull from. Like, Killing Joke is perfect, and it was one of the inspirations from the great Arkham games to tie it full circle back around. that we got into because you got Oracle in those games. And it was like, hey, this is Batman. You already know the origins. We don't have to kill the Waynes again. You know who he is. Let's roll. You know? And that's where I think a lot of people don't know the extended Bat family. Like, who is it? What was it? Lucius Fox's son. I think it's like Tim Fox or Luke Fox or something like that.
Yeah.
Not Jamie Foxx. God damn it! I gave him another one. Fuck.
It was Jamie Foxx.
We can cast Jamie Foxx as him though. That was my overall point. Maybe that's just, it's coming. It's coming in the future, Jamie Foxx. It's that yellow armored suit Batman that's totally not Iron Man.
Yes.
That one. And then there's also Future State, which was part of their we're gonna reboot the universe again. Okay, we'll think of something different. With how successful the movies are, DC just something comic-wise just doesn't really hit with the pantheon they have.
I mean, I feel like Marvel. It seemed like Marvel hit their stride. It seemed like they did it right. They did Iron Man, then they did Hulk. They did all the individual movies, and then they brought it together to with a super movie. So then it's like DC. I can't even really put into words what they did.
Well, even still, how Marvel isn't hitting the mark now. Obviously, the hot news, and it's where is Marvel gonna go? But Jonathan Majors is out. He was found guilty, gang. Guess what Disney does not put up with? Abuse. Of course. Mickey wasn't beating Minnie back there. I mean, maybe if you go back far enough, you find some kind of weird offcut from Walt. I don't know. Internet can always prove you wrong. I'm just saying.
Well, now they're doing Doom, right? Dr. Doom.
And it was what's his name? From Peaky Blinders. Cillian Murphy is their guy for Dr. Doom.
Cillian Murphy was the Scarecrow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Cillian Murphy. And I like that. I like it as Go ahead. Run your Dr. Doom. The one fan art I saw was for Giancarlo Esposito as Mr. Sinister, which I really like.
I can see that. Look, after from '89 when they described Michael Keaton would be Batman, and I go, really, are you? I saw the movie and I was like convinced after that. So you throw someone in there. I mean, unless they're really tall and you bring in a midget, somebody shorter, that would be the thing. But nonetheless, it's all smoke and mirrors. So, I think he could play that.
The guy who plays Homelander. The guy who plays Homelander is really short, and everybody else is really tall. So they get that man stilts.
Yeah. Well, I think Esposito could pull it off. Absolutely. He's got that, really diabolical gear, that really diabolical looking gear in him, so I think so.
But overall, I think there's a confusion in Marvel and DC how to go forward. DC is struggling to tie everything together. Marvel is struggling to keep everything together. They're seeing these horrible box office results.
Yeah.
And DC's seeing them too because they said, no, we're sticking to our guns. We spent all this money. You're going to watch these fucking movies. It doesn't matter, Junior. We'll put them on HBO Max. You're watching them one way or the other. And then they put them on Netflix and they sell them out. At a certain point, you get worn down and you're like, all right, let's see how bad this thing is. And then you're like, you know what? I didn't spend any extra money in my life. That was enjoyable.
Yeah.
And then you see the flaws and you're like, well, that's horrible. And that's horrible. But you know what? I had fun. And that's where I think that movies and film really need to get back to, that fun factor. When you look at the Michael Keaton Batman, one of the best moments of the movie is that first scene. Who are you? I'm Batman. And that sold it. The Christopher Reeve Superman got sold from the poster. You'll believe a man can fly.
Yep.
It's taking people into that fantasy realm. What Matt Reeves did is he took the real world to Batman instead of what Christopher Nolan did, which was taking Batman to the real world. And that was a quote I heard from Mark Bernardin on Fat Man Beyond. I absolutely love it because it's true. Everybody loves to tout Christopher Nolan because he is a very brilliant filmmaker. But like even The Dark Knight, I looked at those movies and I'm like, okay, but it's not really my Batman. You did a good job bringing this into the real world, and I really respect it as a film, especially The Dark Knight. When I was looking into just how to get my thoughts out of my head and onto a page, I watched certain tutorials, and they went back to The Dark Knight. Like, look at this. This is the perfect story circle. It goes back to the hero 1,000 faces, which is what George Lucas drew from. It's, it's getting that perfect film. So it leads to what Frank's saying and everything. The person doesn't really matter. The content really matters. And that is what I think everybody's really struggling with right now.
Yeah. Well, the Joker thing has been played to death. Like even in the video games. It's like, okay, like you said, Court of Owls. Batman has so many different villains that need to be told.
Scarface.
Deathstroke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like
was the fucking heartbreak of the Ben Affleck movie. It was going to be Deathstroke and Joe Manganiello, and Ben Affleck.
Yeah, that last name, I can't pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
I try.
Yeah.
But that was going to be an amazing movie, but Ben Affleck pulled out of it because he said, no. I have to have these certain stipulations. It has to be a good movie. They start meddling with it, and he's like, I'm out. I respected the hell out of him for that move.
Yep. Yeah.
And then to get the Snyder Cut, that was the ultimate one round. And I was telling my buddy at work, and I said, look, the Snyder Cut brought me around in the end on the Jared Leto Joker because we didn't see the Ayer cut. The original Suicide Squad was meant to be dark and gritty, and then Deadpool came out, and they were like, hey, guys, make it funny. So now you're messing with the original idea, which is what we ultimately find as the viewer we don't like. Listen to the writer, because the writer listens to the fans. If you follow that simple process, it's historically proven to work.
Yeah.
You just got to keep those executives out of the kitchen. You know what I mean? You don't need to know how the soup's made.
Yeah. Well,
stay in your lane.
Exactly.
Nah. Too many yes men. Too many yes. Doing what they want. Getting what they want. Access to what they want. There's no way to really, keep them out. It seems. It's just. I mean, they're putting up the money. They're putting up their reputation, blah, blah, blah. And they feel, they have say, they're messing with classics that, the Kirby stories in Marvel, all the older.
We don't got to talk about the atrocious Eternals again, but that's but example.
All that stuff that even at DC Comics, they're doing the same things too. They're sticking their fingers in, to things that, they really shouldn't,
no, they don't need to.
But they are, so.
I mean, nerds got mad at George Lucas and Steven Spielberg when they started remastering their original stuff. I mean, like, yeah, but we got technology. Look what we can do. And they're like slapping their hands like, no, stop touching that film.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, they're still beating both dead horses, although I enjoyed Dial of Destiny and all the Star Wars stuff. So it's to say, if you get that right person, Dave Filoni, to take care of said universe, then you have hope. That's where it all links back to, yes, James Gunn may be that perfect person. The one thing I saw, which is, social media loves to start these, little, these clickbait articles and stuff that goes out there because fans really want something to happen. And maybe some person at a company said, yeah, I would love that. And the one I saw was, I guess somebody asked Zack Snyder if he would continue his DC universe if somebody like Netflix got it. And he said, yes, if Netflix had the rights to do the, my universe, yes, I would go forward with it. And I think everybody's excited about that. But even as bad as DC's going, I feel like they still have at least metaphorically a little bit of like Nintendo money to be like, yeah, but we just need to keep putting out films and content.
Yeah.
And we can still make money.
I mean,
don't think they're going to get that low to where they're going to sell everything off to Netflix and jump ship.
Yeah, I mean, it's wishful thinking. Wishful thinking. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You want those characters. I get it. We all know they got wronged. Especially, I'm forgetting his name, but the cyborg actor.
His name as well.
But he had a horrible time on that set with Joss Whedon. And a lot of people didn't like Joss Whedon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nobody liked the Joss Whedon movie of Star Wars either. And now he's silent in Hollywood for some reason. But it's that kind of thing where I think with the pandemic, and there was that flood of content we got, and then we were starved for content. Now we're getting content again, and it's not the best. And then you got these writers concerned about AI. That's where everything's a little bit shaky right now. And I think a lot of nerds are looking and patiently waiting. But ultimately, with the streaming services, there are thousands of other options. You can go off and watch Invincible. You can go off and watch The Boys. The Boys are about to have a brand new season. And their whole thing is leaning into the nerd culture and what they want to see. So that's where there's a little bit of a push from people like Amazon.
Yeah. Oh, and they're just doing a Prime is doing a series. I think it's a series. Maybe it's a movie. God of War.
I heard about that. Yeah. I hope it's a series because Amazon's doing the Fallout series, and they just released the trailer.
Yeah.
With Walter Goggins, not David Goggins. But there's that kind of trailer to where Amazon stuff, especially certain stuff that they do. Reacher's very popular. Miss Maisel was very popular and won awards. There's a lot of gems that you can find in Amazon, even though they don't put out content all the time, like Legends of Vox Machina.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's certain gems you'll be like, why don't you do this stuff all the time? So there's them getting those IPs like Fallout and, all the video game stuff. If you do it right, like Last of Us just proved, people will watch it. You'll win awards, and they will now focus away from superhero content to where they're feeling a little bit of fatigue. Now, instead of TV shows, maybe we start getting some video game movies that don't suck. Like Halo was an absolute disappointment. You got two goals in Halo. Keep your goddamn helmet on, and it's war. I don't know how you make war boring and how you miss that instruction of keeping your helmet on your head because you're a soldier and you like your head where it's at.
Right.
Those two things.
That was a bit odd, yeah.
Two things you had to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't do those. That's the shit people get annoyed with.
Assassin's Creed was another disappointing movie. I was really looking for. I'm a huge Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, now that you said that, I gotta take this off because that was horrible. And Michael Fassbender, I was so hopeful and.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and then they finally.
You're right, Batman. I should take my hood off after you say that.
I can feel it dripping down my chin. Yeah, it's funny. Like I'll be doing events, and little kids. They tell you the blunt truth, right? So I'm dripping, right? And usually the sweat accumulates right here.
Yeah.
And this, Batman, why is your chest wet? I'm like, because I'm sweating. Oh, okay.
Batman sweats?
Yeah.
He's not a dog.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about urethane rubber around your head. Yeah. I have, over the years, I have kind of learned, like I said, and evolved. So, for example, in the beginning, I would get nothing but full muscle suits from head to toe.
Right.
Well, I kind of got to the point where I'm like, okay, what if I just do a top torso muscle suit? The bottom can be tactical pants, knee pads, shin guards. It looks awesome, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, I'm like, why don't I put armor on? That way, I'm only sweating up here. I'm no longer sweating.
Look, as long as you don't get to, you know what? Why can't Batman wear sweatpants? I think you're doing good. Although, after Peter Parker, I think you could still rock Batman wears sweatpants now.
Exactly.
Batman's on his off day. Taco night was last night. Don't ask any questions. Batman's having a rough night. All right.
Yeah.
Right. You show up at the Media Comic-Con. Like the first half of the day is this, and then the second half is sweatpants.
Sweatpants Batman. There we go. You still have the tactical boots on. You still have the shin guards. It's just sweatpants. It's like, well, Batman needed to breathe.
Batman gaze. Batman.
There you go.
Then you trade out the tactical boots for like the little bat booties. You got the little bat slippers, and you just walking around. Or
you really freak people out and get those giant dinosaur slippers, the furry dinosaur slippers.
Yes.
We've gone down the road now.
Oh yeah, no, we're crafting a completely different bat suit.
Look, just don't wear Lululemon, and we're good, okay? No Lululemon, okay?
I will say we were earlier. We were talking about the comic style cows and the fabric cow. So this I can see about. Yeah, I can actually see pretty good with this. But the fabric cow, especially with the white mesh, the eye holes are already small as it is.
Yeah,
right.
And then sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, why did you think it was a good idea to get a second cow? You already can't see it as it is, but now you want to put white mesh in front of your eyes. What were you thinking? And then I tell myself because it's badass looking. I'm like, okay, that's good enough.
Exactly.
Right.
Look, I get it because for one year, it was either a birthday or Christmas. My brother got me a Deadpool mask, and it's like rubber, so it looks awesome. But it's right here on your face. So if you enjoy breathing, it's not great. It's not great for you. You'll probably start to hyperventilate if you start to panic. So it's not something I would like wear to a con to be show up as Matt Pool. Like, not unless I got a cloth Deadpool mask. Okay, that rubber mask. Fuck no.
Yeah.
Batman, though, you got a nice little breather hole right there. You know, it's smart. You know, that's also where characters like Green Lantern, Superman, Green Arrow, faces.
Right.
You non-restricted.
Well, and another thing is the nose. The nose has to be cut open underneath because if it's not, now I'm actually hearing myself in my entire mask, and it just throws everything off.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I get that. It's like when we were podcasting before we got the Rodecaster, I would just plug the headphones into the computer, and sometimes it would be really off-putting to wear headphones. In the earlier podcast, I wouldn't wear them because you'd hear yourself speak, and it would be off. To where the Rodecaster, it's real time, and it's like, oh, I can hear myself speak and all that. To where, like, if you have on like gaming headphones, especially if they're noise canceling, you just hear yourself speaking from inside your skull.
Exactly.
Outside of this. you have an air pocket around here, so that is extra. I imagine that's almost like the plugging your headphone into the computer and you're hearing yourself speak. That's maddening. I know, because I've had to listen to that and then edit that. It's horrendous.
I can imagine.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Oh, the editing. Yeah. No, I was imagining sitting in that suit. I'm like, yeah, that is horrendous. Oh, you're talking about me. Like, yeah. No, that's fucking awful, especially when you're trying to edit.
Yep.
But we went absolutely everywhere in, comics and video games and films and TV series. The one thing I did see is I hope it is not Batman free, but I hope he's sparse in it, which is the Arkham series that Matt Reeves is doing for HBO. It's where it'll allow them to really tell the villain's tale. And I almost want them to do what Titans did for like the first season and not show Batman. You see silhouettes, you see him jumping out a window, tying up a bad guy, whatever. That's what I kind of hope from that Arkham series. Don't show me the monster. Make this lead into Brave and the Bold.
Right.
Don't show me Robin. Don't show me Nightwing. Allude to all them. Red Hood, Red Robin. Right. Allude to the Bat family. And then work into it. And now you have a backlog that you can pull out these characters. Well, let's pull out the Titans and really do what the animated universe did with, hey, here's your friend. They're going to help you with this adventure. And it's not cheesy. It's built in.
Right.
Because it's a lot easier to tell, like, your mom, like, no, Mom, that's his friend. They met here, and your mom's going to be in on the movie. Like, oh, okay. Oh, that's so-and-so. It makes it easier to where that's off-putting for, I feel like, executives, because it's a big gamble of you not knowing your audience. But the nerds know it. The nerds love it. Everybody has that nerd friend like us to where you can probe their mind and be like, well, hey, man, where did this come from in this series? Be like, oh, well, Kang is kind of a Mortis. He's also, all that. And you have this knowledge to where people will now be more into that series. Especially being a nerd in the automotive world, you meet other automotive nerds, but you're still like, oh, he's our resident nerdy guy. Hi, I'm randomly generated white guy number 8. So having especially the nerdy guy who has the balls to walk down the street in a Batman costume, because not a lot of people, they say they want to do it, and they say they want to. I could do that. Even the buffest guy, I totally do. They wimp out, and I want to put it like that, so that way I push them into doing it. You little bitch. So not that I'm pushing like all these call it. Well, no, I literally just called all those muscle guys in the gym bitches for not doing it. I'm standing by that statement too. Man up. Dress like Green Lantern. I want a Delco Green Lantern. Delco Legion of Doom.
Delco.
That's the question I wanted to ask you. So if you could pick your ideal counterpart, who's the villain? Because you already mentioned you didn't want to go with something as benign as Joker. I could say benign because he's everywhere.
Joker's out. I mean,
who's your rogue?
I would probably say Deathstroke.
Oh yeah. Especially with your style of Batman, I can totally see that. Deathstroke, the mask and everything, totally decked out. Oh yeah.
Yep. Well, so this chest piece, I actually have I actually have 3 of these at this point. So there's another guy on Instagram that does a really good Deathstroke. So I reached out to him. I said, dude, what do you think if we do a collaboration? I was actually going to take one of these and create like basically carve a bullet out of wood and lock it in the chest. So and then do like a collaboration photo shoot of him shooting you know what I mean? So
yep. Wow. That would be so awesome.
Creativity,
Because I also see, to tie back into the Dear Detective, I see that comic style image.
That would be a photo shoot and a half that you guys, whoever that guy is, if he does, that would be unbelievable.
And
speaking of that, Batman has had team ups since, way back when I was, as a kid. Who would be your team up?
Yeah. Who's?
Are we talking? Like, we're not talking about like Robin or anything.
No,
like
outside of the
outside the Bat family. Who's your super team up?
Yeah,
it has to be DC. It has to be DC.
Yeah, it would be one of the DCs, but
I'd
name one of your Marvel ones.
I'd say give me DC and then give me Marvel.
Yeah.
Wow, I'd have to actually think about that because
there you go.
Yeah, I actually would have to think about that. I mean,
my immediate go-to, and this is kind of like in Triforce, we always had the thought experiment to end off a podcast, and I like it because it starts to turn the gears in the head, especially for creative types, to where looking at your Batman suit, especially Arkham Knight, I look at that and I would want to see one of the characters in a similar style that would complement you. So I would be looking at somebody like an Arkham style, Flash, or an Arkham style Green. I always go Green Lantern because he's my favorite, but like an Arkham style Flash or Green Lantern, one of those two that people know, and it's that draw. But obviously the big would be Superman because you two are so tied together in the comics and the spotlight.
Oh, clearly that's I mean, I'm truly racking my brain. Like, it's easy for me to come up with like characters from Marvel because it seems like there's so many characters in Marvel's universe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like DC, like literally the only people that are like popping into my brain right now is members of the Justice League. And, truth be told, like if I would pick someone to be, like you were saying, I'm like someone outside the Justice League.
Plastic Man.
Plastic Man.
Dead Man.
Dead Man. Oh, that would be awesome.
What was it?
Dead Man with the fucking red suit with those, popped collar. I mean, before
there was there was a long time team up with Dead Man and Batman that I remember.
I'm going for
ages ago.
I'm going for a deeper cut. The Shadow.
The Shadow, or the Question.
Yeah, the Question would be good. That would be easy too. Fedora, blue fedora, blue, jacket. Trench coat.
It goes back a while. I mean, they do it kind of, but they really did it ages ago. Back in the mid '70s and early '80s, a lot of team ups. That with Batman ran with. And Dead Man was always one of my DC favorites that I had, so
Dead Man was one of the first comics that I would go to when I was a kid. I had a couple Dead Man comics, and I would page through them. I always thought he was a very interesting character.
Yeah,
especially they started to go to Dead Man in some of the animated universe.
Yes.
An easy one, which would be really easy for you to find and sell, John Constantine. Dude, trench coat, lighter, and a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the easiest cosplay you can. But if he's standing
next
to
Batman,
that's John Constantine. Okay.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. I forgot about Constantine.
Like, dude, if you got a buddy that you could pass off as Constantine, be like, here, put this on and come with me. What? You don't even have to tell him anything.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make
40? Just smoke.
Hey, you want to make 20? Smoke. You want to make $20? Put this in your mouth. Put this on and follow me. What?
Exactly.
Okay. I don't know. I'm here. You keep saying I'm John Constantine.
Right.
I don't look like Keanu Reeves. It'd be great. It'd be great. The other thing I was thinking of when I'm looking at this, the Dear Detective, pop that shit on a T-shirt and sell that at a con.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Delco Batman merch. Then you have, there's a lot of QR generators out there. QR code to your social right there on the back.
Right.
That's right there. And that's funding the Batcave. That's how we make you a Batman billionaire and from Delco.
In reverse. In reverse.
Well, yeah,
okay,
in
you
reverse.
you didn't inherit it. You just you built it up yourself, you know? Wow.
It's for the next generation of Delco Batman. Okay.
The funny so
millions. Unfortunately, that would mean you would have to be murdered. I'm not volunteering. I'm not willing to do the time.
Well, okay, so this is side note. Okay. I don't know I don't know how the video is from you guys, but from my perspective, Frank, when you get a picture, your head is perfectly in proportion to the head of the muscle suit. So it almost looks like you're wearing the muscle suit.
That is awesome.
Frank, why so serious? Yeah.
Frank Percy as the Batman.
So
I think you can draw that.
Wow.
I think you can draw that. That's a T-shirt in and of itself.
I had just
big teeth
talking
graphics
with him here. The reel and the ideas are just like flipping through. When I asked you who would be your sidekick partner outside of the Bat family, that's what I thought of. It's just like either that or Black Canary.
Oh yeah, Black Canary.
I mean, just ideas, but man, I mean, the pictures that you've created yourself were just enough right there. I go, I'm gonna have to swipe all of each goddamn one of them, Yeah. So I'm gonna have to. So I'm gonna say it. It's on film.
Yeah. Just in case anybody has questions later on.
Your Honor, I swiped it. I said it. I did it. There it is. Okay. What do you want? So
royalty checks in the mail.
Yeah.
If it's successful.
Right.
But I'm hoping it's successful, man, because while we're here helping promote you, and you mentioned Delco Spidey, Mark Gervais is out there. I had to tell him that, hey, man, we're going live with Delco Batman. He said, I'm with Delco Spidey, handing out candy canes and quarter sheets. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He shot me
in media.
Yeah. Spider-Man texted me. He's like, hey, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man's handing out candy canes. Can Batman come? I'm like, unfortunately, Batman is going to be on a podcast. Maybe next time.
It's really funny because when I was messaging Spidey, which is so weird. I mean, as a nerd, it is not lost on me how I've been messaging Batman and Spider-Man all day, which has been great. I mean, I'm just going to chalk that one up in the win column right there. But I'm messaging Spidey, and I said to him a couple days, about a day ago. I'm not going to say he's a late responder because he's very quick in comparison to me. And he goes, "Hey, I got to check with MJ." And I was like, "Love that. You don't break it. You don't break it like Spidey, MJ. I got it. You got your girl. Hey, man, I'd love to do the podcast. I got to check with my girl. I got it. I totally get that." And Spidey is, I mean, especially we've been talking about the Great Media Comic-Con, obviously, but meeting him, meeting you guys, and getting you on was, as soon as Mark even suggested it to me, I had the same thought. That's the weird part about me and Mark. Sometimes it's just like we connect on that kind of wave. And he's like, you should have this person on. And I was like, I was thinking the same goddamn thing. And that was with you and Delco Spidey. I had to get you on because I know we're going to be having you on at the Great Media Comic-Con. Bangers and Wall Hangers is going to be there broadcasting live. And it's something that I want people to really, I want them to get you for their birthday, for their corporate event. Why not? Your employees would love to see Batman, especially, hey, a comic book signing. Like Frank had a comic book owner down, I want to say it was down in Middletown, Frank? who offered for a signing with you.
Okay.
And
yeah, I'm sure down there. Yeah.
it was like I think he met you at I want to say he went up to the Great Media Comic Con, because I saw this guy. It was the guy we took the picture with his family at it was Blue Hen Comic Con. It was him and his wife. They weren't. Yeah, those guys.
The search for Sasquatch.
No, not that one.
No?
The person before them. They were the people that he came up. He offered you like, hey, he's the owner of a comic book shop.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
And he was like,
yes,
hey,
yes.
I want to have you down at a signing. And I remember
Sure.
at the Great Media Comic Con, one of our meetings, you mentioned like, hey, this guy wants to have this signing. So he's like a guy that pops up at the cons and offers this to you. But it's something like that to where we do a signing at a comic book shop. What matter? Like, hey, we got Frank Percy and we got Batman.
Exactly.
Now that's a bigger event that people will want. It'll be something that the comic book shop owner would love. Obviously, he's getting inker of Punisher War Journals and he's getting Batman.
Right.
And it's something that will draw more people in because, hey, man, they got Batman at the comic book shop. Oh, they got Batman? Yeah, man, let's go over and see Batman and this comic book guy.
Yeah.
Last year's Great Media Comic Con, leading up to it, Mark and Frank, obviously, Frank, you were there. We walked the streets. We walked the streets. It was like dining.
What was it? Dining Under the Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a blast. Had such,
wow.
So much fun.
Kids were running up to you. I mean, adults were, like dumbfounded and, mouth agape, just there.
I just imagine.
They were just losing it. They were losing it. So
I just imagine one person who's just like inebriated and they're just walking. Oh my God. And they look over and be like, I think I just saw Batman. You know what? I got to go home. I've had enough.
Yeah.
You were that one point where he just couldn't believe it. Like, all right, man, I just saw Batman. I got to go home.
Yeah.
Tonight's done.
The funniest thing was Mark's standing there, like we're talking, and he's like, okay, so in the beginning, he's like, all right, we're going to go down this street. Then we're going to bang a left down there. Then we're going to go down here. We literally... What did we made it like 3 feet in like 45 minutes.
Yep.
That
sounds literally.
Right.
That sounds
literally.
Yeah. Let's make it. Let's just,
It took almost forever to just walk down, 5 blocks. I mean, the guys at the car show wanted you to pose next to the car. I mean, it's like
it
was. Yeah, they wanted you in it.
I'm like, sorry,
Batman.
Yeah.
If I sit down in the car, I can't get back out.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. That's where you just get the lean on shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Batman under the hood working out the kinks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, that was amazing. That really was. I mean, you literally stop traffic. I mean, the kids were just like, they lost their minds. I mean, you and Spider-Man, the two. I mean, Spider-Man, we almost left him behind. I mean, like, my God, they would. Oh, my kids just like, that's all they were doing. It's like, holy cow. I mean, like, wow, and they've never had it over there. So,
that's
I'm so glad. I'm so glad we know you. I'm so glad that you're sticking around with us and the whole 9 yards. But man, it was so nice, and I'm sure that this year, I should say, come next year, it's going to be spectacular in April.
Oh, it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm so glad that we all connected, and Mark's a great guy. And it really, I couldn't have asked for a better Comic-Con to be my very first Comic-Con to go to.
We're glad about that.
You're going to be a staple at the Great Media Comic-Con. I have this inkling in the future that the Great Media Comic Con is going to keep appreciating you, Batman, because of the good work you're doing. You keep going forward, and you're living the dream. You're doing what you're passionate about, and it really shows. And that's why I want people to hunt you, and why you're on Tales of the Hunted, because we love you. We know everybody will love you, and we want you to be booked. We want you to be like, all right, guys, I love you, so I'm going to pencil you in my schedule. That's the message we want to get from you. Like, hey, all right, I could fit you in here. And be like, all right, well, we got to have a wacky recording time, but we're getting Batman back on. He's really busy, and we love him.
How far are we from seeing a Bat car out of you?
Yeah.
The Batmobile out of you.
Batmobile, man.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, truth be told, I mean, I do have a Batmobile.
Okay.
I do. It's funny. I went to a birthday once in it, and let's just leave it at that. I went to one
drive in the Batmobile.
Is that the Camaro that you have pictures of?
I'm sorry.
Is that the Camaro?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I can imagine that must have been a bit high to get in, a bit low to get into. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Let's just recap here. Okay. So you got a urethane cow. At the time, I had a full muscle suit trying to bend in. Right.
That's uncomfortable.
And it's not done yet.
Nope.
Stick shift.
Oh,
so now,
oh God! What the fuck?
Right. Oh man,
Batman! What the hell? No wonder you have braces on your knees.
Okay.
So so needless to say, it was a one and done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man. Yeah, maybe Batman shows up being chauffeured.
Yeah.
Have Alfred drive.
Alfred's done it before. You know that, right? So.
You can have like a Batman version of the Pope Mobile. You don't have to sit down. You're standing up.
Right.
You're waving. You're protected. I mean, whether or not you need / want bulletproof glass, it's kind of up to Batman.
Right.
I feel Batman sides on the air of caution.
Yeah.
We'll get the bulletproof glass. Like Elon, he's like, you never know when you might need it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Even shit, man. Just fucking pimp out a Cybertruck. There you go. New age Batman. Fucking throw shreds on the side and add like a Frank Miller tank on the front.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Elon would love it.
Yeah.
Keep him away from it.
We have so many ideas this podcast. Good
God.
I think there's some place in the U.S. that actually custom makes the '89 Batmobile.
Oh wow!
But I mean, you're looking spending like 120 grand. So
sure, yeah. It's custom, yeah, absolutely.
And, there was like a flamethrower on the back.
Yeah,
you got to have fuel for that. Fuel for the car.
Yeah,
that's not a 4-cylinder turbo.
No. Well, I rationalize it. I say to myself,
I bet you do, Batman.
I rationalize. I'm like, you can't buy the Batmobile because you can't get it out of your driveway without scuffing the ground effects. That's why you can't buy it. It's not because of it's so expensive. It's because you just scrape the underneath of the front bumper. That's why.
Look, with a little engineering, like the Romans.
Yeah, that's an easier problem to solve than.
Yeah, airbags.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. See, look.
A little bit of engineering. Batman will get it done. Batman will get it done.
Man, that would be sick to see the car just rise up, turn 180, and go the other way.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Well,
to quote my Basic Engines 101 instructor, my teacher, he said, "With enough time and money, you can get anything done in the automotive industry." So it can happen for you, Batman. Just depends on how masochistic you are.
I mean. Yeah. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. I mean, when I was younger, Like, I absolutely love, this was before I was obsessed with Batman. I absolutely love the Knight Rider car.
Yep.
Okay.
So my first car was a 91 Pontiac Firebird, gray. Of course, it wasn't black. That pissed me off. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved that car. I wanted to get a car exactly like it.
I mean, yeah, the Knight Rider car had that it captivated people like that because, you know,
right.
it was before AI, really.
Yeah.
Because you had this sentient car, and that's what you knew. And now we have way too much AI.
Right.
All of a sudden it turned into like a fucking James Cameron movie or something. But ultimately, I think everybody's really excited, Batman, for the Great Media Comic-Con. We're excited about your events, and if you have anything else that you want to plug, just send me a line. We'll always have you back on here. New suit, old suit, don't care. Just having Batman on and being a staple of Projangers wall hangers and Delco in and of itself is really what I think the fans need.
Looking forward to it. At the Comic-Con, I'm going to be doing double duty. So I'll be there obviously as Batman, but Batman will also be manning a vendor table.
Okay.
So me and a friend of mine have a side business called Two Poor Carvers, and we specialize in wooden signs and epoxy.
Awesome.
Nice. I saw the ones that you did on that you do online. Very nice. Very impressive. You know, I like the Punisher one. It's all gnarly and everything. Very nice. Make
sure to send me some images of those, and I'll add them in here because, especially as you know, a side business like this, it's something that is with wood. My uncle was he got into carpentry. And you know, there's something it's so artistic to where you get something made with wood.
Yeah,
like, Frank, we saw the guy at both the cons, the Blue Hen and the Ocean City Comic-Con, and he was selling the swords.
Yeah,
anime swords, other kinds of fiction and sci-fi swords. He had them all there, and you know, you have this plain wood,
right?
Deco it like you want. Now that's that person's cosplay thing. There's that kind of thing, and also on the artist side of getting a Punisher, getting something that was, you know, crafted like this, and there's that homemade quality that you get from the cons, and it's you know, it adds that little comfortable blanket at home. Like, yeah, it's the Punisher skull, but it's made of wood. Look how beautiful it is.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like a warm snuggie.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We since the announcement was Claudia Wells was going to be there and everything, and Mark was like, dude, you know, if you're going to do any stuff, make sure you incorporate Back to the Future. So you know, I'm like, all right. I went into my shop and looked around. I'm like, all right, what do I have? I found a spiral staircase step that I got from one of my previous jobs, and I turned it into a Back to the Future sign.
Oh,
so looking forward to. Yeah,
nice.
I'm always full of ideas, but I love the idea of like a wooden DeLorean with Batman in the driver's seat. I think
that would take work.
I'm just the idea guy. Like I tell Chris Bristow, my podcast partner, all the time, like, hey man, I just come up with the ideas.
Right.
Producing them, that's a whole other department.
Yeah, that's another can of worms. Yeah.
You do jazz fingers and you back out slowly.
I had an idea. I was gonna create like a street out of wood, right? Paint it black, and then buy like a tiny little DeLorean figurine.
Yeah.
And then dig out, say, like skid marks.
Yep.
And pour orange and yellow resin in the skid marks, as if the DeLorean, you know, is leading, you know, fire, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
Nice.
That's really good.
A little diorama. I like that. That's a great idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a nice
Very
piece.
nice.
And that's the thing. Like I said it a couple times on the podcast, my brother's got the Star Wars black figures. And one of the cool parts about that, they have all these little plastic things so you can actually get them to stand the hell up, as well as like battle scenes and stuff. And that's a lot of the things to where you see certain pieces of artwork online, and it's, you know, they have like dust going in the background. They're going into Photoshop. They're erasing out that clear parts, but you get these awesome like Mandalorian or like, you know, like different, and all they're using is just like action figures and doing a little touch up in digital. It's that kind of thing to where having that little piece that you can just set on the shelf is also another thing that it's a part of nerd and geek culture. We love to look at the things that we love. You know, almost like even if
some of us remember, you know, back when it like literally first came out, you know, it was a thing. Yeah.
Even another piece of just having like a Batman sitting at a bat computer as like a piece of wood, and you cut out the bat computer and the Batman.
Yeah.
That's a whole other layer that you have on that. And it'll make your table pop, especially at a con. Because now you have, this is where we make the money, and now Batman goes off and pleases everybody, and now you're a twofer. We had the twofer, well, three for really, last week with Johnny Necro, with the comic.
Right.
His wife has Horror Adorables. I always say that name wrong. I like all names. But it's the 2-for-1 in the table, which ultimately benefits you, but it benefits the con too, because now that's that extra value in that one table that the fans will see, as well as everybody involved. So it's a really, really smart business move there on your part. A step above Iron Man, I will say. Not that it's a competition, Iron Man. I'm just saying you need to learn from Batman a little bit. But awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I had a blast, gentlemen. I really thank you so much. I am honored that you guys thought of me and wanted me to be on your show.
No. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming out. We really appreciate it. You know, you're a great guest, and we love to have you back anytime.
100%.
Absolutely.
Man. We like to end off this podcast the same way with the little piece of music that I purchased ever so long ago. But this is the Purge Hangers and Wall Hangers Media Network fans, and Purge Hangers and Wall Hangers presents Tales of the Hunted with special guest Delco Batman. I am your host, Matthew Bucarell, the Matman. Matman talking about Batman, and we also have Frank One Punch Percy, the comic book legend himself. We have Hero of Time, Link Diablo, he usually pipes up at this point in the background, and Big Brother as well. Until next time, we love you, we miss you, and we want to see you then. Game on, boys and girls. Bye-bye. Well, it's a little bit late now, man. I already ended the show. Mark McKenna is a name that I've when I went into, all right, let me start looking into this stuff of Marvel and DC, and he's all over. The Flash, like there's so many different like characters and stuff that he's done for nerddom and stuff. It's just like, where do I even fucking start? Because I sold myself. I tried to fucking pump myself up like, oh, you ask questions, people don't. Like, why the fuck would you tell somebody that? God, you are just so setting yourself up for failure. But ultimately, like, when I podcast now, it's almost like I'm on autopilot because I've been doing it for so long. I can feel out the guest, almost like Batman right there. You know, there's parts where I'm like, where are we going here? He doesn't have the timing. It's his first podcast. Second podcast, he'll be even better. So I already have this kind of structured out, the different plays and all that. But, you know, with Mark, this is like a seasoned guy. And it's like, all right, he's been interviewed. And he's been interviewed by a bunch of people who think they're clever.
Right.
and I think I'm clever, but also I know like
Right.
my red line isn't like $9,000, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Interviews, from ones at different cons, on podcasts. He was on one not too long ago that I saw. Remember when QVC used to have the comic books?
No.
QVC used to have all these comic books with the artists. Yeah, remember that. Jot that down. Tell me about QVC. You were actually doing QVC.
Dude, I'm gonna do a deep dive on YouTube on QVC comic book sales tonight.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Crazy.
Projects. He has his own little project. It's kind of a kid's animals. I think it's called fairy tales or something like that. I mean, I have the book. Let me look it up. Here it is.
It's around here. You're just Jedi archive that is not organized like the Jedi at all.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody took the Jedi library on Coruscant, picked it up, and shook it around for a millennia.
Yeah.
Don't forget the fire. There's got to be fire.
Hardcover.
Oh wow.
Mark McKenna. He gave me this. He had various ones. So there's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Like I feel like as whatever time I can, I'm probably gonna have to start doing research into that because he's literally our next guest.
Yeah. I'll have to send it to you, a picture of it. But
like, he has that kind of name to where just nerds that I know at work, and they're not even to like my level of nerddom, to where like I know names in the industry. I may not know where I know them from, but it's in there. Like they just they know some comic industry and stuff like that, and then they see the Comic-Con footage and stuff, so they hear the names. When I said I'm having Mark McKenna on, their first comment was, "See, I told you, dude, it's snowballing. It's already starting. It's already starting."
Yeah. Well,
to where there's that kind of pressure there too, to where I feel like I gotta fucking nail this shit. Until then, game on.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.